Yeah, I was thinking like whether or not I should have a drop in or something. Like I thought maybe we could do a round of noticing, but I also noticed some resistance to that.
Mm-hmm.
Not so much resistance, just like it sounds like more effort than not doing it or something. Like I almost just want whatever's here without some kind of drop in.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I was feeling relieved hearing that. I imagine that any form of structure could influence the connection, and I think I have a strong desire to just be with you.
Mm-hmm.
And I noticed some thoughts like, oh, that drop-in is great, context is great, and I really trust us.
Yeah. Yeah, I notice how easy it is to kind of sink in to you, and like with eye gazing, a lot of the time I'll start to get different visuals after a while, and with you it's pretty instant
Mm-hmm.
for me, so it feels really good. Yeah, I don't know. I'm imagining like there's a lot in you also, like energy or something that could be moved.
Mm-hmm.
It's the sense that I get.
Yeah, as you say that, I notice it kind of moving from my chest up into my throat. Yeah, the yawn. I notice when I close my eyes that my heart rate slows down a little bit as I take away a layer of stimuli. I'm noticing like there still seems to be some energy in my like solar plexus and chest, and as I say that, I notice it like in my throat. Oh.
Yeah. Are there like feelings or qualities to that energy in you?
Yeah, it feels kind of contractive. Like my chest is kind of tight. And when I yawned, there was like some relief. Speaking to it, I think I was feeling my chest kind of open up a little bit more. There's some like disappointment I didn't get the yawn that I wanted. I have this story. I have to feel safe to really yawn, release. I think as I close my eyes, it feels safer, and like that tightness isn't quite as intense.
How is it now?
Like it started to dissipate, until you said the word now. I noticed a little contraction in my solar plexus.
Mm-hmm.
I had this thought, like, I am safe. Like, open your eyes and, like, prove it or something. Just breathe. You're totally fine.
Like, just I'm wondering, what does unsafe mean? Or like, what's the fear of being unsafe?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think there's this part of me that's like afraid to be seen by you. Like fear of rejection or something. And I don't know what part of me is quite scared of that. I want to correct my language. I'm sure I will know. Seems a little bit far away right now.
Yeah, it seems like there's always some like level of anxiety of rejection from anyone that I like, and like care a lot for. And yeah, like even thoughts of like small ways that I could be rejected by you or something on the way over here. Like, I think that I just want to be as close as possible and feels good to you, and any rejection could be like, I don't know, maybe some sadness that things didn't flow well because I wanted more connection.
When I'm hearing that, I'm noticing all these different parts, like some like joy in my face, some like sadness in my shoulders. I think the joy is like, wow, you want to connect with me like that. The sadness is like imagining I could hurt you. Like, I really don't want to do that.
That felt like interesting and kind of exciting to hear that. I think it was unexpected to hear that the sadness was that you think you could hurt me. Is that what that sadness was? I want to make sure I'm getting that right.
Yeah, I think it was that I heard a voice, like a part of me in my head say, like, it's not like sadness that, I think it's fear of that happening, fear of me hurting you, and then the sadness is more just like imagining you being hurt. I would probably feel really sad.
I think I was playing around in my head with like, could I hurt Samuel? And I guess like when I get into it, my mind says, I'm sure I could hurt Samuel, but it's like almost something that never even crossed my mind before. That would happen.
Yeah. Seems like a crazy idea. sit with it, I'm imagining that if I bonded with you in a certain way, or like attach myself to you, that I could feel hurt if I was rejected, or maybe felt like I lost you or something like that. And like, I don't know, there's something about the nature of this connection that feels so safe that like I am like not attached to this in a way. But there still is some attachment. I fucking love you. I would be so sad to like know I can never see you again. Or if it might be a long time, I imagine longing for connection with you. But I think that the comfortability in our connection is like this shared, or this perceived shared sense of mutual trust. I really trust you.
Yeah, I really trust you too.
I'm really enjoying the visual distortion as I continue to drop in.
Yeah, anytime I try to record a circle, I'm like, oh, this is probably not that entertaining. Like when I get super dropped in with somebody and there's not a lot of conversation. And I try to let that go. Like, oh, who cares?
Yeah, there's so much value for me here. It's like my nervous system really craves this. I write in my journal almost every day. Slow down. Breathe. And being here with you now, I notice that quality of slowness.
What's it like to be slow right now?
Like when I notice a thought or a sensation arise, I have a way of like noticing it and like being with it. It's like I notice it kind of start here and like emerge and go into my head, and then instead of it going down to my throat and me speaking it, it like goes back down into my heart. So like check in again. So I think it's like a discernment. Like slow, feels kind of fast in my body. It's like bam, 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 bam. But it feels slower, as in like I notice some resistance to say it, but like it's like I just don't talk as much. The resistance is like I'm talking. Okay, am I being slow? It's almost like the very act of speaking of it makes it faster.
Speaking about it and making it faster, like I felt a little excitement in my heart when I heard that. I'm just noticing thoughts of like my ideas of what I almost want like the nitty gritty meat and potatoes of circling to look like. And like I feel like this is it a lot of the time, but my mind's like, no, we've got to like reveal things and like got to share like juicy, shadowy things.
Vulnerable.
Yeah.
Hearing that, I'm just feeling excited, like more aroused.
Yeah, I imagine like maybe some part of you wants that, like by the way you just like kind of got up and were like, yeah.
Oh, what's in here?
Yeah.
I'm like, yeah, also curious, like, yeah, there's something about being with you, like, it seems like I don't need to reveal anything, because I don't really think I'm hiding anything. But at the same time, I'm sure there's things that I haven't shown you.
Yeah.
And maybe that might play into, like, the constriction earlier. Is like, what have I not shared with you that I'm afraid you might reject?
Yeah. Something that it doesn't even necessarily feel that vulnerable, but something that I could share just in like being really forthcoming is that I think you and Connor McMillan are probably the only two men that I know that I feel like I could have some more like sexually intimate sort of relationship with, or just like, yeah, like more of a sensual pleasure with. I think, yeah, you're like one of two people that I know that's like a thought or like that my mind could entertain and like feel good about.
Yeah. Oh. I noticed some like blood going to my face hearing that. And yeah, some like, well, I kind of felt it in like my belly, like I was like, oh. I think that's my like sensuality or something. Yeah, I noticed feeling happy hearing that and contemplative. I want to like analyze my thoughts around this, but I'd rather just share how I'm feeling. Which I'm sure there's some thoughts around it that I'll discover. I think as you started to share, I anticipated that might be what you're going to share. And I was surprised to feel how not surprised I was. Like, I was like, oh, that makes sense. And as I like feel into my connection with Connor and my connection with you, it seems very similar. Like, it feels good. And growing up, I had these ideas of like this binary, gay or straight. But what I've come to realize through mostly connecting with Connor is that it's not binary. It's just like it either feels good and I'm into it, or it doesn't and I'm not.
Definitely.
And I've noticed in sharing touch with you, it feels really nice and comfortable. And I think I have that deep a sense of safety and trust that I think I know that if it didn't feel good, I could tell you and you would stop. And I could talk about all of the nuanced details of it and really be understood. Yeah, no, I was feeling pretty warm.
Yeah, I think I noticed like lightness in my body after saying that and listening to you. Like my shoulder feels really good. I feel like all day my shoulder's kind of been a little stiff, and like it just kind of instantly feels relaxed.
Yeah, I think I'm remembering us sitting by the spring the other night, and receiving touch and cuddles from you, and it felt almost safer for me to like not be explicit about like it feeling good or something, or like it feels like scarier to like these parts of me that are scared of being rejected by family or whoever for having some kind of homosexual tendency or something. It's like almost like now the elephant's in the room. I'm like, oh hey. And it almost felt safer before, and that I think it's sad that it was safer before for me, because like I really value transparency, like honesty, and I think it's just like a new layer of me that I'm getting more comfortable with.
Yeah. And I think I noticed, like, with talking about it, yeah, there's almost more of a feeling of safety before, because for me, it's almost like, oh, I hope this didn't create like a pressure or something, like, oh, now that it's said, does that mean that it like has to be explored or something, which I don't believe, but like just kind of open to whatever happens. But yeah, there's almost that like expectation that could be created of like, oh, I guess it's just expected to be explored now that it's said or something.
Yeah.
I'm like, wait, I don't know.
I noticed like hearing that of like my solar plexus is like getting tighter and tighter. I'm like, like feeling some like fear or something.
Really?
Yeah, and like I think thinking back on it, it's like, yeah, I almost feel safer for it not to be explicit, because if it's implicit, it's like easier to play with or something. It's like I want to like get my fucking words out of the way and just like let my like trust my body. And I think that there's so much fucking socialization in my brain about it, and like especially if it's like just two people acknowledging attraction for each other, or like that it feels good to connect with each other. It's like there's almost this like even though like it doesn't like I think that's my tendency, but not necessarily my preference. It's like I would love to just like tell people that I like touching them, or like receiving touch, or that I feel attraction, and just being in that. Right?
Yeah.
And like letting us consciously explore with words, but mostly explore through feeling and checking in about feeling.
Definitely. The expression of like what's alive for me seems to like becoming more and more like the thing that brings me pleasure more than anything actually coming out of it. I think sometimes I like joke in my mind about being like, oh, hey, I think you're so attractive, and like having thoughts of having sex with you or something, and then being like, hearing like, oh, well, do you want to have sex? And I'm just like, oh, no, not really. Just wanted to share that.
Yeah, I noticed like anytime I've thought about like having sex with a man, like it sounds good in theory, but then I start like looking at other men or like talking to other men, and like I don't like, it's not the same. It's more when I'm like in this like contemplative, almost like more feminine space. I'm like, oh, that sounds really great. But then like if I start talking about it, I'm like I get turned off. But then like when it's just happening is when I get turned on. When it's happening and I feel safe. And yeah, I just think these like nuances of like, getting to know me through this is like, what does this mean about me?
Like, are you saying that like getting to know yourself through this? Or okay.
Yeah. I noticed the thought, like, yeah, this is a juicy circle.
I noticed, like, some tingling and pressuring in like my nose here or something. And also throughout my body, but it's like really concentrated like on this area of my nose.
Here I go. I notice pointing my attention to that part of my body.
It's almost like a sensation that sometimes I would get in my third eye or something, like a nice feeling pressure, but for some reason it's on the tip of my nose.
Yeah, being with that attention in my nose and noticing some tension in my head. There's some like pressure behind my eyeballs. And the story I have is I haven't stared at one thing for this long in a while. My muscles are sore. And I feel kind of like giddy, happy that that's the case.
Yeah, I notice looking at you, you look really relaxed and possibly like slightly tired or something. And I noticed for a second feeling a little tired, and looking at you, I just kind of wanted to like doze off for a second.
I think what was happening for me is like I'm really liking the psychedelic visuals. And the more I soften my body, the more psychedelic they get. And I imagine it looks like I'm really fucking tired. Like, and maybe I am, like, it's definitely like, it's almost like my body's way of slowing down and taking in more data.
It just looks like extreme relaxation or something.
Hearing all this rain, I'm just feeling really happy. There's also some fear, some concern about you traveling. Like, oh no, I don't want Hyatt to be wet. I had this thought that I could drive you wherever you need to go. I'd be happy to negotiate that later.
Yeah, that feels really sweet to hear. And I noticed my heart felt like it was just kind of like bubbling out, hearing that from you. And then just I think I have this tendency to be like, oh, it's cool, it'll be fine. And then I get into it, I'm like, God damn it, this sucks. Like, I don't mind getting wet, and then I'm out there like, no.
I'm mind kidding. Yeah.
It's usually what happens for me.
Oh. I feel some sadness hearing that, and like there's just also this like part of me that's like that does the same thing that I'm sad for as well. It's like like I have this idea that even if someone offers me something, if I accept it, I'm burdening them, and like I'd rather just like not have the burden and just like have the suffering.
Yeah.
But then when I'm in the suffering, I'm like, I really wish I took that. I wish I was carrying that burden right now. And it happens so much in my life. And
yeah, I noticed it happened for me slightly, like when you offered that or talked about it.
mm-hmm.
Yeah, feeling like, oh yeah, I do want that, and like, I know you have plans after this, and I don't want to like be even the slightest burden for you.
My intention in sharing what I'm about to share is maybe for us to feel some relief. Yeah, I have a phone call at 4:30. It's just a phone call, so I can do that anywhere. And I imagine that gives us plenty of time to get you where you need to go, and get me back here if I want to be here for the call. Mm-hmm. Where are you going?
I haven't thought about it yet. Well, I have a friend who I have possible plans with at around 4, but it's not 100%.
Hearing that, I noticed this like rocking forward energy. Mm-hmm. I associate that with curiosity.
Yeah, hearing you being curious, I got like some excitement at the thought of you meeting my friend. I think that's been an exciting thought for the last day or two. Like, I imagine that you haven't met her, and I think she's like one of the coolest people ever, and the idea of you two meeting has been a really nice thought in my mind.
What's their name?
Aditi. Yeah, she's from Dallas, but she's like living here now. And yeah, I noticed enjoying this conversation, and I'm like, we're kind of getting out of circle mode a little bit, I think, which is okay.
Yeah, I think there's a way in which we could share. I could bring us back to this moment.
Whatever you feel like doing.
Hearing you share about your friend, I made up this story that you're really happy to share that, and imagining that, I feel some like softness and relaxation hearing about this person. And I was feeling really relaxed.
Yeah, I just had the thoughts that I feel like I don't want to share a little bit, but it's kind of funny, like, just my mind kind of went back to the like sharing about the thing or like possible attraction or something, and then my mind just went to this place that like turned it into some like Satanistic pleasure, like I don't know. It's like for some reason my mind tends to, like, maybe some part of my mind still fully doesn't accept like the idea or something somewhere. I don't know what it is, but then my mind just like plays around with things that I don't want. Almost like, okay, I've expressed some attraction, and then my mind takes it to some extreme, like, place that I don't want it to go. And that's kind of what happened. And it was more humorous for me than anything, but yeah, I think sharing it was like kind of weird feeling.
Weird feeling. Yeah, I heard there was like some satanic, hedonistic fantasy in your mind. And there's like some curiosity about it. Wondering why, when you think of something, your body takes it, your mind takes it to the extreme.
Yeah, I kind of wonder if like some part of my mind like does want to explore it or something. Like layers on layers, like. Yeah, so much programming that's like, oh no, that's evil, and then it puts a weird feeling in my nervous system. But then maybe deeper than that is like this part of me that's like free of everything, that's just like, let's just explore. I feel like when I'm on psychedelics, that's like what I tap into. So I'm like, and that feels like some deeper part of me. So I'm like, oh, maybe it is something that something in me wants, and I'm just trying to convince myself. I don't think I believe anything I'm saying. I'm just like rambling. These are all just like nonsensical thoughts running in my head right now.
Yeah, I'm just feeling like happy to hear the way that your brain's working and thinking. Yeah, I want to share, like, I don't take what you're saying 100% seriously.
That feels good.
It's like I hear you, and like there's not like a judgment. It's just like, yeah, just observing. I am fascinated because I'm imagining that my brain works very similarly, and I was able to really relate to it. And I felt this like softening hearing you share, like when you spoke to being in that state on psychedelics. It was this like excitement that bubbled up because I felt that. I always say that like I'm the most gay when I'm on acid. And I don't necessarily think that it's gay. I think that it's just this openness to experience. And like you said, there's like this like deeper like something here, like this deeper pleasure, this deeper comfortability in my body.
I don't know, hearing you talk about that just like brought something up of like, oh, I feel so freaking, some part of me feels so caged. Why? Why is it so caged? And then just like wanting to let it out.
Yeah, notice you moving your arms. Oh, caged. Did I put myself in this cage? Oh. Yeah, like. Yeah, I noticed like my body is like curling up a little bit, like feeling constricted, but it feels really good. I'm like, oh, I'm in this cage.
What feels good about it?
It feels like safe, feels comfortable. Like like if I let the wild man in me out, I'm afraid of the repercussions. So it's safer for that part of me to...
It's just like, there's just like multiple... I'm a freaking multi-intellectual universe or something. Like, personalities within personalities.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm like, because one of me wants to be like, oh yeah, let's just be a fucking freak.
Yeah.
And then the other one's like, well, remember last time we did that? It really wasn't enjoyable.
I have a few of those experiences too.
Like, that's not all of us.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that I have this thought that we are these like really truly multi-dimensional beings, and like people say like, oh, new day, new me. It's more like new moment, new me.
Mm-hmm.
Like every moment I feel like I'm a new expression of being, and there's some familiarity and contextual landmarks here and there. There's some congruency for sure. And like I constantly surprise myself. I'm noticing the smell of the candle, and I don't really want that smell right now. Put the candle out.
Smells like some joy being here with you and talking with you. Feels really fun.
I feel excited to share this conversation with the world. It's like a way to uncage a little bit of me. Let me be seen.
Yeah. Yeah, that brought up some joy too. Like I want to be seen in my freakiness. Or just whatever.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's like I want to be seen in my freakiness and my calmness and my centeredness. I want all of me to be seen.
Yeah, I think it's because the freak has been suppressed for so long that it's like, this must be shown. I'm like, oh, I've been centered. Like, everybody sees my centeredness, I think, for the most part. So it feels like less important or something for me right now.
I think I'm hearing that it feels more important to share your freak right now.
Or at least more like, I don't know, pleasurable or more exciting. Like, I never really let that one loose too much in front of other people. So much so that I, like, didn't even really know that I had it there. And now it's like, oh, whoa, this is here. Holy crap. Yeah, I gotta explore this.
Yeah. Notice when you speak of it, your body moves. Like there's a lot of energy there. I feel some like joy imagining you continuing to unleash this energetic parts of you. I think I do have a story about you, Hyatt, that you are calm and centered and collected most of the time. And I'm creating the possibility and the story of you being really energetic and freaky and playful often.
What's happening for you now?
It's like focusing on opening up my vision more. It's hard to do it while I'm thinking. It's like everything goes blank and all my attention drops into like a single point in your right eye. It feels really good. It's like your face morphs into all these other faces and forms that I don't recognize as you, but are so you.
Yeah, I think I'm imagining we've gotten most of the juice squeezed out, and maybe there's probably not a whole lot left, at least for me, in this moment that wants to come up. I'm wondering if that feels true for you, or if there's anything else that you have you'd like to express.
I notice there's still like a little bit of like tightness in my solar plexus. There's some pain in my left lower back. It started a little while ago. Is there anything else that's really wanting to emerge? Alright, I think I found something. Yeah, I think there's like this desire to like see and be seen in more parts, like to get to know you in more contexts and like have you in more group contexts. I think like I feel really safe relating with you right here, and yeah, I think there's like just a desire for more community with you.
Yeah.
I think I've noticed like sometimes in community, like we're around each other and we'll be around people, but it doesn't seem like I have this story that there hasn't been that much like group connection. And I think that just goes in general for the tribe and community that we're a part of. Like, it's like I want to be able to do this with other people, with us.
Yeah.
Right? And I think we do this sometimes, especially when it's just you and I, but I really want to include our community in this.
I definitely would love that.
So there's like, yeah, it's like excitement to just continue to connect with you and learn and grow with you. I feel pretty calm and full. There's like pretty sharp pain in my back. I don't know when it happened.
Was it, were you feeling that last night a little?
No.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. I imagine that it's from sitting in class for 3 hours and driving an hour today and then sitting down and again. I usually don't sit down for this long.
Yeah.
If I meditate for more than 20 minutes, I'm laying down. Like,
Yeah.
Vipassana scarred me. Just Just be equanimous. Just breathe. I'm like, fuck you. My back is like hurt.
Yeah.
Like, there's like some like maybe possible injury from Vipassana.
Yeah.
If I go again, I'm bringing one of these.
It's probably a good idea.
Mm-hmm. And all sorts of pillows.
People freaking are sitting on towers with pillows sometimes, and I'm like, so funny. I'll look at some people's spots and it looks like they built a fort.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I feel good about like ending it here. Yeah, I just wanting to like give you some kind of touch, like a hug or.
Yeah, you want to share a hug?
Yeah.
Well, I'm gonna move this this out of the way. I think. Yeah, however you want to do this. Oh. Actually, like, want to keep hugging you, but it hurts my back to be in that position.
Yeah.
Can I hug you on the ground?
Yep.
Oh. Oh. Oh, so much better. It's like really coming down out there. Are you sure you don't want to walk?
I don't know. I'm sure I wouldn't mind walking, but
you might mind the wetness.
yeah.
For me, it's mostly the cold.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know. For some reason, I didn't bring my umbrella, but I do have a pretty nice raincoat.
Yeah. I'd be happy to drive you wherever, as long as it's not like 30 minutes away.
Yeah.
But I'm sure it could get you anywhere central within 15 minutes. Alright, and I'm going to do a clap. The clap will help you sync up the audio with the video.
Cool.
That's why they do it in Hollywood. It's because they're recording audio separate from video, and so you can look at the sine wave spike and then get it when the hands clap, and then you're able to sync up the audio and the video.